Today, we're going to take a deep dive into one of the largest media companies in the world, the Walt Disney Company. In order to do this, first, we should look at the different business sectors where Disney operates. Disney has subdivided its corporation into 4 distinct business units. There's the media networks, parks and cruises, consumer and interactive products, and the movie production business. Breaking down the overall revenue and looking at each business unit's contribution reveals the relative contributions of each business to the overall corporation. The TV and media networks, coupled with the parks and resorts business, make up more than 70% of Disney's overall yearly revenue. Overall, in fiscal year 2016, Disney revenue was a whopping $55.5 billion. That's billions with a B, and certainly deserves our further consideration. The largest revenue-generating business unit in the Disney Corporation is the Media Networks business. Included in this BU are the well-known Disney Channel family of networks, but it also includes the acquisitions of both the ESPN and ABC family of networks. This offers Disney a wide swath of television audiences to market to. However, lest we forget that Radio Disney is also a part of this family and is heavily cross-promoted on its television networks. In return, the television and movie soundtracks are heavily cross-promoted on Radio Disney to form a sort of synergy of advertising across all these platforms. Radio Disney was the major factor in launching the careers of Demi Lovato, Miley Cyrus, the Jonas Brothers, and many more pop musicians. This arm of the corporation is tasked with identifying what are called triple threats in the entertainment industry. Those who can act and sing and dance get their start in the radio and television portions and then are developed in order to see if they can carry the silver screen productions. As if that weren't enough, this branch is also actively participating in the media on demand market by forming a relationship with Hulu and other content delivery mechanisms such as original YouTube content channels. The second largest revenue generator for the Walt Disney Company is the Parks and Cruises BU. Disney has locations around the world, and they're not all devoted to theme parks. While the most well-known attractions are Disneyland and Disney World, the Walt Disney Company also has parks internationally in locales such as France, Japan, and China. And in addition to the traditional park experiences, Disney also offers Disney-themed cruises and even opportunities to experience adventures while on vacation for those who want more than just Mickey, but with all the comfort and customer service that the Disney brand is known for. The third piece of Disney's business is the Consumer and Interactive Products division. Disney has created a licensing empire with its strong stable of characters and loyal fan base in order to encourage other manufacturers to license Disney's intellectual property for consumer products, as well as opening its own brick-and-mortar locations in order to capitalize on the success of its movies, television, and radio talent. But the part of this business unit that has been in the news most recently involves Disney's Interactive Studios discontinuing the Disney Infinity gaming console that has suffered staggering losses after the initial success of the system. The last piece, and perhaps the most well-recognized portion of Disney's business, is the movie studio production business. It may come as a surprise that this isn't the largest revenue-generating business unit within the Disney family. This is largely due to the high production costs involved in churning out hit after hit on the silver screen. This is sometimes complicated by the changing desires of the movie-consuming public. In order to keep their customers happy, Disney must produce new content on a consistent timetable that moviegoers want to see. One of Disney's primary means of accomplishing this is to acquire it. One way to acquire intellectual property is to purchase the studio that owns it. Owning Touchstone, and more recently Pixar Studios, has provided Disney with hits like the entire Toy Story franchise from Pixar, and movies like The Help that was distributed via Touchstone. Disney has even gone so far as to enter into a relationship with DreamWorks to distribute their movies. If the studio doesn't own the property, then Disney also has the option of buying the rights to the franchise from the creator as well. The two most high-profile and lucrative acquisitions for Disney have been the purchase of Lucasfilm and the Star Wars intellectual property, as well as the rights to the characters in the Marvel Universe. So, As we take each one of the businesses that Disney operates, we will have 4 separate analysts look at each business individually. The television and media networks will be broken down by Ashleigh Wisenant. The Parks, Resorts, and Cruises BU will be detailed by Mary Kathryn Billings. Consumer and Interactive Products business will be analyzed by Clay Presley. And Cristine Jett will handle the movie studio production side of the business. And then we'll all round back up, and I will analyze the big picture for those considering Disney as an investment. So for now, let's get started with Ashleigh.
These next 4 or 5 slides, we're going to talk about the Disney and ABC television group and their media department, and that will entail covering their portfolio, all the channels that are tied into the brand, how they are currently able to capitalize on the future of TV, some concerns they may have moving forward, and lastly, the future outlook for their TV networks and some moves they may be making in the future to build their portfolio further. Disney's media network comprises a vast array of broadcast, cable, radio, publishing, and digital businesses across 2 divisions, the Disney and ABC Television Group and ESPN Incorporated. Additionally, each of these 3 networks are being broadcast through various channels. For example, the ABC network includes ABC News, Freeform, A&E, Lifetime, and the History Channel. The Disney Channel includes Disney Junior, Disney XD, and Radio Disney. And their biggest network of all, ESPN, is comprised of ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3, ESPNU, ESPN News, the SEC Network, ESPN Classic, and ESPN on ABC. Ownership of these diverse brands and networks allows Disney to broaden its reach and connect with a wide range of consumers, from children, sports fans, to even the daytime soap watcher. Over the course of these next few slides, we'll explore some opportunities that Disney could capitalize on with its TV networks, as well as some concerns they may have moving forward.
A hot-button topic for most people nowadays is the rising cost of cable. Just how much are cable prices rising, you may be wondering? In an article authored by Alicia Adamczak that was published in Time this past February revealed that the Federal Communications Commission reported in 2014 that the average monthly price of its expanded basic service, which the FCC defines as the most popular cable package, increased by 5% to $64.41 back in 2012, compared to a 1.6 annual increase in the Consumer Price Index. From 1995 to 2013, the price for the same package increased at an average annual rate of 6%, compared to 2.4% in CPI growth. Even worse, things do not seem as if they're going to get any better for cable consumers anytime soon. Most cable companies plan prices anywhere from $2 to $10 per month. While this may strike most as a negative for Disney and their TV networks, they have actually been able to leverage these skyrocketing cable prices and turn them into a positive. The rising cost of cable has set the stage for streaming companies like Netflix and Hulu to capitalize on the cost-conscious consumer, which quite frankly is almost everyone. Noticing this trend, Disney has been able to strike a deal with both Netflix and Hulu to have a jump on the competition if, but more likely when, people abandon cable altogether. Disney was actually far ahead of the curve when they struck a deal with Netflix in 2012. The exclusive deal with Disney brought Disney content to its streaming platform. The partnership began with a simple offering: the animated Star Wars series, The Clone Wars. Since then, it's expanded to include Disney and Marvel-owned properties like Jessica Jones and Daredevil. These are 2 examples of Netflix-produced shows that the company licenses intellectual. Additionally, Disney has been able to expand their footprint in the streaming further by inking a deal with Hulu to become one of more than 35 TV networks that users will have access to when Hulu debuts its live streaming service in 2017. Hulu confirmed in May that it plans to offer a package of live programming in 2017 for broadcast and cable networks with a reported $40 monthly subscription price. If you do the math on the earlier numbers, that's about $25 cheaper than what the average price of a standard cable package is going for right now. To do so, Hulu is ensuring it will be a major player in the crowded field vying for cord cutters. It's also further offending the traditional TV landscape, and Disney looks to reap the benefits. Lastly, Disney is aiming to capitalize on the cord-cutting movement by putting its name in the hat to possibly purchase Twitter. Traditionally a social networking site, Twitter has ventured into the streaming platform this fall by offering live NFL Thursday night games. The deal for Disney would fit perfect into its portfolio and remain in line with its strategy to capitalize on the TV streaming movement. Additionally, it makes sense for Disney to acquire the company, especially if they aim to continue their partnership with the NFL, given that Disney has sports ties already with the ESPN family of network channels. While Disney is acting fast on the cord-cutting movement and keeping their thinking forward, their prized cash cow, ESPN, is beginning to drag them down. Coincidentally, where Disney is succeeding in capitalizing on the TV streaming business with its other TV channel networks like ABC and the Disney Channel and their subsidiaries, the streaming boom is causing a sharp decline in ESPN subscribers. Nashville-based sports talk show host and writer Clay Travis recently documented the ESPN decline in subscribers on his site Outkick the Coverage. In the article, he outlines why the move away from traditional cable TV consumption has hit ESPN harder than any other network. In short, the underlying reason is ESPN costs every cable and satellite subscriber roughly $7 a month. That's over triple the next most expensive cable channel. Therefore, if you have a cable or satellite subscription, whether you watch ESPN or not, you're paying ESPN over $80 a year. That's ridiculous, right? So if ESPN is raking in all of this money, what in the world are they doing with it, and how is this a negative for ESPN and Disney? Clay covers that in his article as well. The problem is, currently, ESPN is on the hook for the following yearly sports rights payments: $1.9 billion a year to the NFL for Monday Night Football rights, $1.47 billion to the NBA, $700 million to Major League Baseball, $608 million for the college football playoff rights, $225 million for the ACC rights, $190 million to the Big Ten, $120 million to the Big 12, $125 million a year to the Pac-12, and hundreds of millions more to the SEC and the SEC network. All of that adds up to roughly $7.3 billion in total rights fees in 2017 alone. 1 year, 2017. The way you wrap your head around all those staggering numbers that ESPN is paying out for sports rights, I'll summarize the impact that this has on the ESPN family of networks and the larger picture, Disney. If ESPN continues to lose subscribers, then a conservative forecast indicates that by 2021, ESPN will be bringing in less than what it has already committed itself to pay out for sports rights. Even more troubling, most of ESPN's contracts for those sports rights do not expire until well after 2021. All of this spells out trouble for ESPN and has had a significant impact on Disney's stock price in early 2016. Disney generates nearly half of its operating profits from the network divisions, and ESPN has been a huge contributor in that important segment. Thus, the decline in Disney stock is directly related to the loss in ESPN subscribers, and shares of the entertainment powerhouse were down by nearly 20% from their highs during the past year. This is an important factor to watch However, the silver lining in all of this, chances are that short-term uncertainty in Disney stock is creating a buying opportunity for long-term investors because being such a known and well-regarded brand, Disney is sure to bounce back even with the bleak forecast for ESPN. The past two slides reflect what could best be described as a mixed bag for Disney and ABC network TV portfolio. So the question remains, what does the future look like for the network TV division of Disney, and what impact could that have on the Disney brand overall moving forward? Disney's media network unit, which previously mentioned is one of its largest business divisions, reported an 8% revenue gain up to $6.3 billion in its first fiscal quarter as advertising sales rose this year. However, Disney said that the sales gain, largely due to higher TV rates, would have been higher if the unit wasn't affected by lower ratings. Contractual rates increases allow Disney to charge cable companies more for its content, but that too was partially offset by the decline in subscribers, specifically ESPN, as we covered in the last slide. This explains why the unit's operating income fell 6% to $1.4 billion compared to last year. In order for the network TV division of Disney to be able to continue shouldering roughly half the weight of the overall brand, the division will have to focus on a few key areas. These include continuing to capitalize on ABC Studios TV series, shifting away from their historically heavy reliance on ESPN and sports broadcasting, and a continued investment in the TV streaming contracts. The reason these areas are key, a majority of Disney's original live-action television program is now produced under the ABC Studios label. The ABC Studios label is creating 85% of its own fall TV scheduling programs in 2016, and these include huge popular series such as How to Get Away with Murder, Scandal, and Grey's Anatomy. This shift should increase Disney's advertising revenue and allow Disney to sell its content to third parties like Amazon Prime and Netflix, thus fitting into their strategy of capitalizing on more TV streaming. Going forward and establishing more growth, ABC is going to scale back on its sports programming due to the staggering loss of subscribers from the ESPN family of networks. With the movement away from sports, Disney will be able to concentrate more on creating content for its third parties. This could leverage its vast intellectual property universe, including Marvel and the Netflix series they have been able to partner up with and create in Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Lastly, it would be wise for not only Disney to continue investing in the TV streaming industry, but literally every other network TV provider. Why? It is just that way we will consume TV in the future, and it's now less of a question of if, but when. Focusing on these key areas will be imperative for the Disney TV network division and the significant amount of weight they carry for the Disney brand.
Disney Parks and Cruises are the second largest revenue-producing part of the company, but also the most capital-intensive for operations. People come from all over the world to partake in the variety of park offerings and to have that Disney experience, which cannot be easily duplicated. There are 6 Disney parks and resorts, 2 parks in the U.S. and 4 parks internationally. Disney World is comprised of several different parks: Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, Animal Kingdom, and 2 water parks, Typhoon Lagoon and Blizzard Beach. What really sets Disney World apart from everywhere else is the massive size of the resort area and the multitude of options for hotel and resort stays. Customers who choose to stay on property are able to select different packages, some including park tickets, meal plans, and even a photo pass. There are value, moderate, and deluxe resorts. A person could spend a few days just looking at the deluxe resorts and experiencing everything the resorts themselves have to offer, including pools, spas, restaurants, and character dining. When tourists get tired of the parks, they can take a break in Disney Springs, which offers unique dining and shopping. There is Legoland, Cirque du Soleil, a hot air balloon ride, and many other entertainment venues. Disneyland is in Anaheim, California, and it has two parks, Disneyland California Adventure Park and Disneyland Park. Disneyland Park is similar to Magic Kingdom at Disney World but features Sleeping Beauty's castle. The most recent project is the new Star Wars themed land. Disneyland California Adventure Park has many of the same attractions that are in Disney World too. There is also a downtown Disney area and some on-site hotels for guests to enjoy. Disneyland is not nearly as large as Disney World, though. Disneyland Resort Paris was opened in 1992 as Euro Disney, but had to rebrand itself as Disneyland Resort Paris after some issues. Tokyo Disney Resort was opened in 1983 with the name Tokyo Disneyland. Shanghai Disney Resort is Disney's newest park. The park took 17 years to come to fruition, and Disney has really invested a lot in the park and its promotion. As you can see by these pictures, both the Shanghai and Hong Kong parks were constructed to be very similar to Disneyland in America. However, Disney makes it a point to incorporate culturally appropriate entertainment in these parks. One interesting fact about the Hong Kong Disneyland Park is that the Hong Kong government owns 52% of the park, compared to Disney's 48% stake. Disney is also planning to expand its Hong Kong park with a new Frozen exhibit and some Marvel-themed attractions. This is Aulani, a Disney resort and spa located in Ko'olina, Hawaii, on the island of Oahu. While it is not a Disney park, there are still plenty of Disney character experiences and activities, making this a very family-friendly resort. Disney offers many cruises in various parts of the world, including the Caribbean, Bahamas, South America, transatlantic cruises, and domestic cruises. Their cruise ships are Disney Magic, Disney Wonder, Disney Dream, and Disney Fantasy. There are land and sea packages available where guests can combine a Disney resort and cruise experience, like visiting Disney World in Orlando for 2 days and then taking a 3-day Caribbean cruise. Adventures by Disney are vacation packages with destinations around the world. There are packages in Asia, Africa, Australia, Europe, the Americas, and even a river cruise on the Danube. The map shows various destinations. The Disney Vacation Club is a way for patrons to purchase timeshares at destinations worldwide. Timeshares are available at Disney resorts too. Disney uses a vacation point system and allows for financing options and exclusive member benefits. Disney implements several strategies for its parks and cruises business. It uses a product differentiation strategy, as its parks are unique. Disney creates an experience that cannot be easily duplicated. People flock from all over to immerse themselves in the Disney experience. They procure an illusion of magic, with many of the operations done underground at Disney resorts, so guests don't even see anything outside of their experience. Disney uses a diversification strategy as well, as it has many businesses that it incorporates so seamlessly together, and the company vertically integrates its many businesses. Disney creative parks and vacation experiences both domestically and internationally, as the company utilizes an international strategy by having parks all over the world and offering unique Disney vacations at international destinations. It allows for more growth possibilities. This year, Disney faced a huge public image crisis when a toddler was killed by an alligator on Disney property. This was at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, one of Disney's most expensive on-site hotels. The case was settled as Disney tried to immediately get the story out of the headline. There have been issues in the international parks concerning cultural sensitivity and general problems turning any kind of profit. When Disney first opened its Paris location as Euro Disney, many Europeans did not want to subject themselves to the culture of American imperialism. There was controversy over forcing workers to have a specific dress code. Though this worked in America, Parisians did not take kindly to being told what to wear. There was a massive walkout by Disney employees. This venture has since rebounded after a rebranding, with the new park now called Disneyland Paris. At the end of 2015, Hong Kong Disney turned its first profit since it opened in 2005. The park struggles in part due to its small size compared to other Disney parks, and the Hong Kong government owns most of that park as well. Despite the chairman of Disney Parks and Resorts' denial of any issues with the new Shanghai park, there is much speculation that the park is not meeting its initial performance expectation. In general, the Chinese population are more conservative spenders, and this cultural difference could be part of the reason why the park is not as successful as it was initially projected. Long lines are a constant complaint at every Disney park, and one of the prime reasons for less interest in the international parks. Patrons can get fast passes for rides, but those are usually used for the most popular rides, and spots on those attractions are gone quickly. Discrimination has been a recent issue for Disney. The company has faced discrimination allegations regarding accommodations for children with autism and discrimination cases from employees. Just last year, a discrimination suit was filed by a security guard for discrimination based on her national origin. Website issues are a common phenomenon when visiting the Disney website. If they don't do something to rectify the issue soon, people may go elsewhere due to the frustrations of dealing with their website to plan their expensive vacations. And this brings up another issue. There is just too much planning involved in a Disney park vacation. Customers have to plan out which park to visit, what time to go, which rides to ride, what shows to see, and the list goes on and on. If vacation goers do not plan everything just right, then the trip may be filled with long lines and missed experiences. Character dining experiences have to be booked months in advance as well. The vacation itself is very expensive. Many families simply cannot afford to go to Disney and must save for years to go. In the international parks, some people just are not willing to spend that much on a vacation. The high costs make the long lines even more frustrating. Delays in opening new attractions and exhibits can be a real headache for customers who pay for these expensive vacations. People plan their trips around these new experiences. This year, Disney World in Orlando was to open the new Waters of Light show, but it still has yet to open. After months of delays, there are many delays in opening the new Shanghai Disney Resort as well. Disney has many strategic alliances with various companies. It has alliances with Pandora, Starbucks, and New Balance, selling exclusive products in Disney parks. With its acquisition of Marvel, Pixar, and Lucasfilm, Disney continues to grow and expand. Many wonder if a Marvel or Star Wars theme park is next. Disney is the best at incorporating various business ventures, especially movies, into all of the parks and experiences.
The third and fourth business segments we'll cover are consumer products and interactive. Disney enjoys an incredible advantage relative to product differentiation. Their brands and characters are recognizable across the world and serve as a major differentiator between Disney and their competitors. Disney's consumer products and interactive business segments consist of three major divisions: licensing and publishing, retail and other, and interactive. The licensing and publishing division consists of Disney licensing trade names, characters, visual and literary properties. Through licensing, Disney's merchandise has a high level of horizontal segmentation. Rarely will you see only a single Disney item in a store. you'll see a variety of similar but different options. Disney has also partnered with a variety of brands, so if you prefer Old Navy, Target, Under Armour, Nike, or Vans, you can find Disney products in the store or brand of your choice. Disney produces very little of the merchandise you see with Disney marks. Disney licenses their intellectual property out to manufacturers and companies who specialize in designing licensed product. One such company is Open Road Brands. They have licenses with Disney, Nickelodeon, Ford, and many of the most popular brands in the world. We'll revisit how Disney's strategies impact Open Road and their other partners a little later. The Retail and Other division consists primarily of retail sales through Disney's brick-and-mortar retail locations, their e-commerce sales through DisneyStore.com, and their wholesale operations. The third division is their Interactive division, which consists of multi-platform games, licensing game content, and other branded online services. Now that we've looked at the divisions that make up this segment, let's dive into the state of the business. Disney is the world's largest licensed merchandiser by a wide margin. What is interesting is despite Disney dominating the licensed merchandise industry, their entire consumer products and interactive segments made up only 10% of their total revenue in the 2016 fiscal year. Disney recently announced the closing of their Infinity Gaming product. Despite Infinity being recognized as a massive upgrade over Disney's previous gaming solutions, Disney's approach is a conservative one relative to risk. The licensing model prevents Disney from having to worry about inventory management for their retail partners and enables them to focus strictly on their own retail operations. It also makes them a difficult company to partner with, which I will address later. Drilling down into what happened in 2016, Disney's revenue for consumer products and interactive segments was down 3% versus the prior year. This downdraft was created primarily due to a drop-off in the selling of Frozen merchandise and Disney's decision to put an end to their Infinity product line. The operating income, however, was up 4%. This can be explained by the introduction of new, profitable Star Wars and Finding Dory merchandise compared to Frozen merchandise, which was well into its second year on the shelves last year. The influx of new and desirable properties also reduced the negative impact of Frozen sales comparisons and the closing of Disney Infinity. Offsetting these improvements was the rising retail costs. Rent, utilities, and common area maintenance increased the cost of operating Disney's brick-and-mortar retail locations. There are concerns for Disney's consumer products and interactive segments. One major concern is that revenue is based on large campaigns centered on movies, television shows, or other creative properties. This creates an extremely volatile financial environment. Disney has to manage the swings in revenue or develop a model that creates more steady income. For example, Frozen was wildly successful in theater, home entertainment, and as a consumer product. But there comes a time when Disney must replace that revenue. Even with Star Wars having an existing fan base and therefore a built-in advantage over most properties, its massive success could not prevent the consumer product segment from taking a hit to the top line. Disney has an immense amount of pressure to continue to produce record-breaking properties just to keep up with previous results. This may be a good problem to have, but there's no doubting it is a concern. A second major concern centers on the interactive segment specifically. The gaming industry is in a state of flux. The future is unclear as both retro gaming systems are gaining popularity, evidenced by Nintendo's release of the original NES. At the same time, video game companies are introducing more mobile and online solutions that are less reliant on the traditional console. Should Disney desire to remain active in the gaming industry, they must determine how to navigate the evolving interactive industry and how to maximize their success in it. Disney's Infinity platform was the best Disney gaming system to date, but it was unprofitable. Infinity had three primary issues. Infinity 1.0 sales far exceeded expectations, and Disney overreacted to market demand with Infinity 2.0. This led to an overstocked position with declining profitability on slow-selling product. Disney also failed to create any corporate synergy around Infinity. Each brand had their own objectives, and the licensing departments from each of the brands were difficult to work with, limiting Infinity's ability to cross-populate worlds and characters, which was a repeated request from users. Finally, a large part of the future of Infinity was set to be centered on Star Wars, which was facing steep competition from the Electronic Arts-produced Star Wars Battlefront. Disney faces strategic concerns, but their outlook is positive. There are two areas of opportunity for Disney to evolve by looking to Nike for inspiration. One manifestation of this is Disney should become more involved with their licensing partners and retailers. Nike works with their retail partners on inventory management. Disney has the scale and resources to do the same, while their partners do not always have the ability to manage their own inventory problems. For example, Open Road Brands, which I referenced earlier, is a major supplier to Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby, like many other retailers, took a big swing on Star Wars merchandise. As it turned out, they took too big of a swing, and as a result, Hobby Lobby and Open Roads are negatively impacted. The beauty of Disney's licensing agreement is that they are already paid, so they don't have to concern themselves with this issue. However, they would improve their status as a corporate citizen and partner if they were to accept returns or provide a markdown allowance on items with a poor sell-through. Because Disney does not have such a program in place and Open Road did not have their own inventory management system, Hobby Lobby remained in an overstock position and was unable to order new inventory for 2016. Therefore, Open Road saw a big drop in sales in 2016. Disney could help smooth out that process. Disney and Nike also face a similar issue in that they have volatile sales results because they are driven by specific, highly desirable products as opposed to selling more basic, commoditized products. Nike has launch shoes that drive a lot of excitement online in the weeks and months before they are released and have been known to sell out in a single day. Disney has a similar business in that they produce 1 to 2 major movies each year that drive the bulk of their sales, not only in the film industry, but the consumer products and interactive segments as well. Nike has taken an approach of limiting the amount of launch shoes they create, which keeps excitement high and leads to a quick sell-through. It also helps Nike manage their year-over-year sales comparisons because they can plan for the amount of sales they will need to match or exceed and produce accordingly. Disney does this with movies by limiting the number of releases each year. Disney also employs a similar strategy in their home entertainment model through their Vault concept. Movies are available for only a limited time, and then they enter the Disney Vault until Disney determines it's time to bring them back to market. But they are not limiting the amount of merchandise available in the market. This creates situations like the one I described for Hobby Lobby and Open Road Brands. If Disney were to limit the number of licensing partners and in turn limit the number of retailers and the amount of merchandise available, they may be able to achieve higher sell-throughs, produce better merchandise, and control over year-over-year sales comparisons and help their partners manage their inventory issues. I believe there is an additional area for opportunity, and it appears Disney has in part already begun to pursue this strategy. Disney should transition their interactive model to a licensing model, more like what they are doing in the consumer product segment. While Disney's Infinity product was an upgrade over any gaming product they had previously produced, it was ultimately not successful. Infinity was produced by Avalanche Software, which is a Disney company. When announcing the end of the Infinity product line, Disney announced the closing of Avalanche Software. Disney observed the success of their licensed product, Star Wars Battlefront, being produced by Electronic Arts and determined to undo the vertical integration in place with Avalanche. Because of the lack of clarity on the direction of the future of gaming and Disney's experience in licensing, it would make sense for Disney to convert their interactive operations to a licensing model. This allows Disney to focus on their core competencies and puts organizations with an expertise in gaming in a position to solve the industry problems on behalf of Disney. Now, Cristine will cover Disney's film industry division.
Thanks, Clay. Let's start off our discussion of the Disney film industry with some interesting facts. In 2015, more than 1.2 billion movie tickets were sold in the United States. The U.S. is the third largest film market in the world in terms of tickets sold per year, only behind China and India. About 14% of Americans go to the movies once a month. 7% go to see movies in the movie theater 2 or 3 times a month. And 37% of Americans go only a few times a year. This chart depicts the industry statistics for the top 10 film companies. Buena Vista is ranked number 1. While at first glance you don't see Disney on here, you'd be mistaken, as Buena Vista is Disney. Buena Vista is a brand name which has been used for divisions and subsidiaries of the Walt Disney Company. The name derives from the street where Disney Studios is located in Burbank, California. Disney's closest competitor was Warner Brothers. As you can see, they beat out the second-ranked company by more than $500,000. This chart shows the breakout of gross revenue for the top 15 Disney movies released roughly in the last year. The movies in italics were actually released in late 2015. An interesting note is that number 7, Moana, has grossed $82 million as of the published date of this chart. This was the revenue from the Thanksgiving weekend opening for Moana. It's the second biggest Wednesday through Sunday Thanksgiving opening, the first being Frozen in 2013. It is currently sitting at $91.5 million gross revenue and will continue to increase. Disney has a breadth of film companies ranging from the absolute original Walt Disney Animation Studios and Walt Disney Pictures to more recent additions, Touchstone Pictures and Disney Nature. Disney also acquired 3 other film companies in the last decade. They are Pixar, Lucasfilm, and Marvel Studios. This rounded out their filmmaking opportunities. The Walt Disney Studios, located in Burbank, California, has been around since 1923. The original studio has been broken down into 2 divisions, Walt Disney's Animation Studio and Walt Disney Pictures. Disney's Animation Studio purely produces animated films, long and short. The first release was Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs in 1937. It has since produced 55 more purely animated films, including favorites like Sleeping Beauty and Beauty and the Beast. Walt Disney Pictures, another division of the Walt Disney Studios, is the main producer of live-action feature films rather than animation. The movies produced through this division also include a hybrid between live-action and animation. The first hybrid released was The Reluctant Dragon in 1941. The first full live-action film released was Treasure Island in 1950. Since that time, Walt Disney Pictures has released hundreds of live-action and hybrid movies. Touchstone Pictures, originally Touchstone Films, was established in 1984. The distribution label was created in order to release films targeted for more adult audiences. This allowed the extremely family-friendly company to release films with a rating of PG or above without tarnishing the wholesome Disney name. The first film released under Touchstone Pictures was Splash, grossing $68 million at the box office that year. The top 3 grossing films from this distribution label are Armageddon, Pretty Woman, and Pearl Harbor. The decision to release movies under a different name than Disney was a strategy that paid off. Disney Nature is an independent film unit of the Walt Disney Studios that produces nature documentary films. It was founded in 2008 and is headquartered in Paris, France. Of the 9 films produced through Disney Nature, perhaps its most notable film is Earth, released in 2009 and narrated by James Earl Jones. This independent film unit usually has annual releases on Earth Day. As discussed earlier, Pixar, Marvel Studios, and Lucasfilm are acquisitions of the Disney company over the last 10 years. Pixar Animation Studios was bought for approximately $7.4 billion in an all-stock deal. Pixar produces computer-animated movies. The first of its kind was Toy Story, released in 1995, and its most recent being the box office hit Finding Dory. Pixar has produced 17 films. All of them have been hits. The next year brings even more Pixar films, as Disney is adding to their Toy Story franchise with the release of Toy Story 4, a story about Woody and Bo Peep.
Marvel Studios was the next acquisition in 2009. Purchased for $4 billion, this subsidiary is dedicated to producing films about Marvel Comics superheroes. This studio already enjoyed significant successes prior to its acquisition. The key point with the acquisition of the Marvel name was not just the purchase of the rights to all of the superheroes and the rights that go along with that, but it also opened up Disney to a whole new market. While they held the attention of all children that wanted to be princes and princesses, the acquisition of Marvel allowed them to appeal to children and adults alike that wanted to be, or watch, superheroes. Lucasfilms was purchased in 2012 for $4.06 billion. It is best known for creating and producing the Star Wars and Indiana Jones franchises. With this acquisition comes the rights to said franchises. Additionally, Disney decided to build upon what already existed. In December of 2015, Disney released Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. It was a box office hit with a worldwide gross of over $2 billion. The Star Wars franchise is all set to release another film this month. Rogue One is a prequel to A New Hope and comes out in 2 weeks. Disney is definitely building and furthering the success of what George Lucas started, and they are being rewarded heavily for it. With Disney's recent acquisitions, they have shown a strategy of horizontal integration. Horizontal integration consists of companies that acquire a similar company in the same industry. When a company uses this strategy, it is seeking to increase its size, diversify its products or services, reduce competition, or gain access to new customers or markets. Disney has increased its differentiation. Initially, Disney was known for its animated and family-friendly movies, but has added a wide variety of films with the creation of the Touchstone label and its recent acquisitions. With the purchase of Marvel alone, the company gained access to over 5,000 additional characters. By purchasing 3 similar companies, Disney has significantly reduced their competition. The Marvel movies and Lucasfilms bring in large revenues, and they've also been able to breathe new life into the franchises. Through the acquisitions, Disney has access to new markets. They have gained new audiences while retaining the one they already had captive. This will prove to be an excellent strategy. Superheroes are always fun to watch, but with the new life in the Star Wars franchise, Disney is targeting new fans and old alike. The acquisitions of Pixar Animation Studios and Marvel Studios are generating value for Disney. Between just Pixar and Marvel, they have produced 21 films, earning an average of $1.4 billion per film. Disney Films has an aggressive but lucrative plan for the next 3 years. This film strategy was years in the making. Over the next 3 years, there will be 2 more Star Wars films, 3 more live-action films, including Beauty and the Beast, and 3 more Disney Princess films yet to be announced. They also plan to expand their Toy Story and Cars franchises. I would definitely recommend that Disney continue to grow their current franchises, but also begin to build new ones. While some of their newly acquired ones, like the Avengers and Star Wars, already have a cult following, they could create new franchises and profit from those ventures. I'll be followed by Bobby as he discusses Disney's VRIO framework.
Thanks, Cristine. It certainly looks like Disney is doing a great job managing its most valuable piece of the business. Actually, That's a major factor into the analysis of the company's overall value within the VRIO framework. Now that we've looked at each business in detail, let's take a step back and talk about the company as a whole and apply the VRIO analysis to Disney. As we talked about before, Disney's value is driven by the success of its film franchises. The film production business may not be the largest player in terms of revenue generated for the company, but their synergy with the other business units is the linchpin that Disney's success hinges on. Disney created a devoted following with its own character creations on the silver screen, but the company has also done an excellent job of identifying other movie franchises with loyal fan support to help ensure its success in the future. This is only one facet, however. Disney's horizontal integration across all of its businesses creates a tremendous amount of value in terms of economies of scope. The company already gathers metadata necessary to make accurate predictions about what toys to produce and sell, which talent and personalities are the most popular, and what music their audience is listening to. All of this data means that Disney can cross-market its products in all of its businesses. You don't have to look hard for evidence of this. Disney musicians are regularly featured in music videos during commercial breaks on the Disney Channel. Disney merchandise can exploit high-grossing programming and even provide feedback on relative popularity. All this horizontal integration means that Disney can make informed decisions based on consumer data in a variety of applications. They have even gone as far as creating wearable data trackers that can send real-time feedback to their park facilities. In terms of value, none of Disney's competitors have managed to take advantage of these types of capabilities across so many diverse business models. This is definitely a source of strength for the Disney brand. Which brings us to the question of rarity. The horizontally integrated data capabilities alone are sufficiently rare to give Disney a competitive advantage. But there are many different individual competitors that threaten Disney's businesses separately. There's an abundance of music, merchandise, television, and movie competition, but none so all-encompassing as Disney. The question of rarity overall is that yes, Disney's offerings, when taken in totality across the board, are rare, but not necessarily rare at an individual level. This means that Disney must focus on creating products that capture the target audience's fascination and create an immersive experience that can be transferred across platforms. If their creations don't inspire, then the rest of the horizontal support businesses will not be able to function at their peak. Nobody ever clamored for Tomorrowland toys, and too many misses like that in the creative properties will directly affect the bottom line. I would say that Disney resources and capabilities are not rare when taken individually, but taken holistically, Disney's expansive horizontal integration is rare, which affords them the advantage of possessing distinctive competence. Is Disney's product costly to imitate? There are entire industries built around providing the same products that Disney offers: television, music, movies, theme parks, and merchandise and interactive content. In the strictest sense, it is very costly to imitate what Disney offers in the parks and resorts and the studio entertainment businesses, but not necessarily so in the merchandising and television media businesses. Since the media networks and the parks and resorts are the top two revenue-generating businesses, I would say that the cost of imitation is high. This is a source of competitive advantage for Disney. The last factor in the VRIO framework is the question of Disney's organization. As mentioned before, Disney's horizontal integration, coupled with its organization into 4 distinct business units that share consumer metadata, is an organizational structure that is plugged in to its consumers across a broad range of products and media. This also offers a broad range of opportunities to market products across platforms. Is Disney organized to exploit its resources and capabilities? The answer to this question is a resounding yes. Ultimately, this means that Disney has created their own culture and it's able to sustain growth over the long term. According to the VRIO framework, Disney is poised to be a successful corporation because of the value created in each facet of the VRIO framework. They create value in the form of products and services and have established a brand that consumers aspire to attain. It is truly rare and imitable to create such a vast and horizontally integrated empire across so many diverse platforms. and Disney is organized to take full advantage of all the resources and capabilities, both human and virtual, it gathers across its platforms. So, what do I recommend? First, I feel that we should narrow the playing field somewhat and only consider the top 2 revenue-generating businesses that make up more than 70% of the overall revenue for Disney, namely the TV and media networks and the Parks and Resorts business units. Based on the yearly reports from Disney SEC filings, the revenues generated by these business units has steadily increased each year in the post-Frozen era. This shows that the company is still finding ways to generate new revenues and also a good indication of stability. Bob Iger has been the CEO since 2005, and the instability prior to his tenure is largely forgotten. However, Iger's impending retirement represents an immediate threat to Disney. The company will have to navigate the inevitable culture change as a result. Disney needs to choose a replacement CEO that shares the same Disney values, but understands the new landscape of media consumption and how it is evolving. The next largest threat to Disney are the threats to the TV media business, mainly the loss of ESPN subscribers as cord cutters decide that ESPN is not on their must-have viewing list. Disney can combat this by continuing to increase revenue from advertising generation, as well as offer cord cutters more opportunities to consume sports on their mobile platforms. Recent industry mergers by DirecTV and AT&T are offering data-free streaming of DirecTV content. ESPN should explore similar opportunities with mobile content providers. Verizon and Comcast already have a pre-existing relationship that could be leveraged in a win-win-win scenario for Disney. The third most significant risk involves the Parks and Resorts business. As long as Disney can keep the costs controlled and minimize the amount of negative publicity around the parks and resorts, keep that to a minimum, I'm talking about alligator attacks and ride injuries here, Disney sets poised for sustained long-term growth. Disney should take the recent deaths and injuries very seriously, especially when they are raising admission prices at the same time. Customers at their theme parks and resorts maintain high expectations for their service levels. Disney should create a fail-safe barrier to eliminate the possibility of another fatality due to dangerous wildlife, and they should consider process changes in the way that rides are inspected and operators are certified. On top of this, Disney needs to use some effective positive public relations by publicizing the changes in order to sway the public opinion back in their favor. To date, the current changes have not been universally well received. So, what's an investor to do? Historically, Disney has paid investors a dividend twice per year for more than 15 years, and the company has split the stock 8 times since they were first publicly traded. This means that Disney is a solid buy for the medium to long term. However, in the short term, looking at the stock price over the last 2 years, it looks very volatile. So the short-term play is probably not the right play for Disney at this point.